And Chris Ockley, September 25th, 26th on the phone, 2018 with Jesse Griffin, the Lee Summit West girls head cross country and track coach. And as they get ready to leave at 400 or whatever, how early ever it is in the morning, fly out to New York and make their way to Rochester, New York for the big McQuaid cross country invitational, which will feature a lot of the top teams from the Northeast and multi different states, and even teams from Canada. Jesse, I know, let's see, last year I think third at state cross country, and the year before second, and I'm sure the goal this year is to move up and get that first place spot. You've got obviously Ray Peck and West Plains and some other good teams around the state, but so I'm, especially with your junior trio of Madison Halsey, Addie Mathis, and McKenna Butler, you were, and much more talent beyond that. You had to feel good. Tell me what I guess your feelings and goals had to change even higher. I guess when you get a phone call or however you found out that Ginger Murnieks was moving in from Oregon.
Well, the expectations are always for the girls I have are very high. I first and foremost want them to enjoy the experience of running cross country and to be at their very best at the end of the season. And one thing I have, after years and years of coaching, I know that we cannot control what the other teams are doing, how fast they run, but we are going to do the best we can to be in control of what we do and how we perform. And the goal is at the end of the season to be at very peak in our performances. And just, if that's the case, hope we're in a position to do well at the state meet and beyond. So that's just kind of the way I approach things.
Sure. Well, 10 years ago, you thought you had a superstar coming to town and help boost the squad in All-American Emily Sisson, and the family ends up over here on this side of the state in Chesterfield and St. Louis, and then a couple years later the Sissons did move to Kansas City, and you got a couple years with Annika. Tell me about having Ginger pop into the program and how that has affected the team and maybe raised the rest of the team's bar at having a transfer come in for her senior year to help this very talented team and to get where you want to go.
Yeah, she has been a very great. I mean, I can't explain, but it's been a great addition to our team. She's wanting to learn, wants to work, gets along with the girls on the team. Is somebody that has come off of an injury and continuing to get better every single day. Has started to string very good workouts together, and been somebody that has kind of, in my opinion, has raised the elevation of every single girl on our team in a good way. They see an elite runner, and we have some pretty good girls on the team right now that are already there, but it has raised every single girl on our team all the way up and down the line, including JV. Those girls don't know any different, but they follow the girls in front of them, and I think it's helped the performances of our entire squad, and I believe that will continue. She's a humble, hardworking, cordial, good person, and a great addition to our team.
Yeah, and like I said, you've obviously already got plenty of talent with a lot of talent coming back from the last 2 years squads and talent off those distant squads in the track team, and like I mentioned, Madison, Addy, and McKenna all leading the way. And like I said, you take off tomorrow morning for Rochester, New York, and assistant coach Mike Payne, where he's from up there, and this big McQuaid cross country invitational. I think 26 different races, and you'll be competing against some really good teams, number 1 and 2 ranked teams in New York, and those are currently ranked ahead of the legendary Fayetteville Manlius team. But what are your thoughts and about taking the girls to this big meet, and thoughts as you head out the door and out for the trip this weekend, and what you'll get out of this experience?
I want them just to get the experience of that level of competition, and we know some of the names. We in summer and at the end of track season, we compete against Shenandoah. They're very, very good. We have not competed against Liverpool. Fayetteville Manlius is sporadic in track. They won't be at the meet at this particular meet, but the names of the teams, and they're some of the best teams in the nation, and we very well may go down there and get beat pretty badly. I don't know how the girls are going to respond to that competition, but I think it's a situation where they can learn, they can get in and compete with that level of competition, and hopefully stay humble, and it will help us when we get to the meets that really matter to us, which are the state meet in Missouri, and that's the purpose of going to this meet and being able to see that level of competition and just different faces than what we see in the state of Missouri.
Right. And I assume just that experience and the confidence that the girls get having solid performances at these big meets across the country is why you've taken them to out to California, Woodbridge a couple times. You've been to Roy Griak, the Palatine Invitational in Chicago. You've been out to Virginia, and in track, obviously, we've taken the girls out to Arcadia the last 2 years. New Balance Nationals, Great Southwest. What's the biggest benefit that the women get from these, traveling and racing some of the country's best, and what's the biggest couple of things that take away from those trips and experiences?
Just the experience, and I want them to see. Sometimes I think in our state, and I'm no exception, that we, what is in front of you, and basically the competition that you compete against is your world. And I want our girls to be able to see what is out there in the U.S. and understand what and how good the girls in the United States are. And we have some very, very good girls in the state of Missouri, and to compete with the athletes in the state of Missouri, we can get great competition here, but it's just on a different level in some respects in some of these other states. And my purpose is to get them out there to see that, and I want them to stay humble and keep working and keep hungry and be able to grow as athletes beyond what we have in front of us right here.
Sure.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's got to do two other things. It's got to give them, if they perform solidly, it's got to be a huge confidence boost, but then also with a motivating factor that hey, we want to get back to these big you know, big national competitions and faced others around the country. And I gotta think those got to be two of those big benefits also.
I agree, and there's some risks to doing this as well, and it's really unknown until you get in and compete. And I believe what you just mentioned is a huge motivator for our program. But it's also an unknown, and like I said, we have a chance of failing here too, and that's okay. And I want the girls to understand this is about what they're going to encounter later in their lives. Nothing is for sure, and they're always going to be competing beyond cross country, beyond track and field. They're going to be competing for jobs. They're going to be competing for spots if they run collegiately. They're going to be competing in college programs. They're going to be competing wherever they go, and this is no exception. And so it's one of those things that it's a fun trip for them. They've worked hard. Let's go out and see what this is all about. And so I want to give them that opportunity.
And that competition exists within the team. I think you were taking nine women, and how important is it for each of the individuals on the team to know that day in, day out they need to be putting in the work, and race day they need to be on top of their things, or they may lose that chance to be in that top 7 as the season goes on.
Yeah, some of the days are pretty intense in our practices. There's no doubt about it. I think the girls understand, the big picture, and they're continuing to work. And again, we'll go back to when Ginger came here. That just that ups that expectation.
Right.
And and I'm going to tell you that the girls we have, the junior trio of Madison Holsey, McKenna Butler, and Addie Mathis, those girls are very good high school runners, and in their own, where they are, and it's definitely a very competitive day in and day out process. But one thing I have noted this year is the girls are really, really working well together, and I see more of them coming together as a team than we have had in the past, which I think will help us as we go towards the end of the season.
Right. And anything special you guys need to work on? If you want to share any trade secrets on to continue to improve and get where you want to be in 5, 6, and 7 weeks, what's just keep putting in the work and trying to prove mental toughness.
Yeah, stay the course, and understand that the teammates are there to help you. There may be days that somebody is ahead of you. There may be days that you're ahead of somebody else. But I think if I look back at when we won state championships, when we won several in a row, that the synergy that the girls had on those teams was unbelievable.
Yeah.
And it just they were good, but when it came to the big competitions, they elevated to another level, so to speak. And,
right.
I can't really explain unless you're in the middle of that. And there's been some teams that have done that in our state boys and girls teams, and those coaches understand that. That's something that I want to see happen, because I think it will help us at the end of the year. I'm seeing some glimpses and some indicators that we're starting to go in that direction.
Right.
And we weren't there last year, and we weren't there the year before. I'll be honest with you. We had some things to work out, but like what I see right now, and I think that there's a good vibe on the team, and the girls are giving to each other right now, and hopefully that does continue.
Yeah.
And hopefully this trip will help that.
Right. Well, let's see. I think you're in the girls seated varsity AAA large schools race number 23 of 26 on Saturday in New York for 3:53 p.m. East Coast time, and I think you're going to do a little sightseeing tomorrow as you fly out early in the morning, go to the falls there in Buffalo, and it should be a fun, exciting trip. It's a good experience, and hopefully the weather cooperates. And I know Coach Payne, I know he's already up there. He's already been a big thrill, but to see his girls compete on a course that he competed on many years ago, I'm sure that will be even more thrilling. And hopefully you guys stay healthy and have a good trip and make it home safe. I
appreciate it, and I think the girls will be ready to go. And and I'll go back and I talked to a few coaches. The big meets for us, we started the district.
Right.
So this is kind of still regular season, and it's something that we can we can gain some momentum hopefully, and continue to make some progress and have a good experience, have some fun.
Right.
Cross country is a tough sport in and of itself, and you gotta remember that it's a fun. It's fun if you're doing things the right way and you're running the best you can. And I hope the girls, and I think they do understand that. But sometimes it gets pretty serious in all sports. But the bottom line, are you enjoying the process and enjoying your time with the teammates and accomplishing some goals together? And
sure.
Hopefully this will help us move towards those goals that we have at the end of the year.
Did the thought ever cross your mind that when you heard about Ginger transferring in, that this gets to make up a little bit for missing out on Emily Sisson when you thought she was coming and ended up over in St. Louis?
I never did cross my mind. Emily Sisson is one of the best runners in the U.S. right now. And, I get to know her family, and
sure,
and through Annika and Emily, I've got to meet, talk to, and it would have been fun to have her on the team. We did not. We still had some success, but that has never crossed my mind. But I'm just glad with what girls I have to coach, and I love the group we have. And,
well, nobody's feeling sorry for you that Emily ended up not in Lee Summit. you survived just fine, and so no coaches are going to feel bad for you. So
I understand that. I get it. Yeah.
Well, Coach, thanks for the time, and enjoy the trip, and good luck on Saturday.